I will do everything that I can, as long as I'm President of the United States, to remind the American people that we are one nation under God, and we may call that God different names, but we remain one nation.
Yeah. This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there.
We've got millions of Muslim Americans, our fellow citizens in this country. They're going to school with our kids. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. They're our co-workers.
The vast majority of the worst, least safe places in the world for women and girls are still Muslim-majority countries, and yet politicians and journalists and educators and entertainers are still convinced that their primary purpose in life is to defend the fake prophet who gave rise to this endless cycle of violence, oppression, and cruelty. And just in case anyone didn't believe me when I said that there have been 40,000 Islamic terrorist attacks since 9/11, I'll list them on the screen. We'll start with the terrorist attacks that occurred in 2001 after the 9/11 attacks. I apologize for the rapid scrolling, but this is how fast we need to go if we want to go through 40,000 Islamic terrorist attacks in a single video. If you want specifics, you can always slow down the video.
And, when we start acting as if their religion is somehow offensive, what are we saying to them?
والذين بلغ تعدادهم 4.5 مليون مسلما في أمريكا وحدها نقول لهم جميعا الثأر الثأر لا تشاوروا أحدا في قتل الأمريكان الكفرة.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. It's practiced freely by many millions of Americans and by millions more in countries that America counts as friends.
Atmosphere, the V sign for victory being displayed in East Jerusalem today among jubilant Palestinians that the United States had been subject to this attack.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. Distress, thank you so much. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Who fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. Oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you. I hope you get PTSD. And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
We thank the many Muslim nations who stand with us against terror. Nations that are often victims of terror themselves. The whole side has collapsed?
The whole building has collapsed.
The whole building has collapsed?
The building has collapsed.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
ودونكم المؤسسات الداعمة لليهود والحكومة الأمريكية كمثل ميكروسوفت وكل شركة داعمة للجيش الأمريكي ولسلاح الجو أو البحرية.
Fight those who believe not in Allah nor the last. Notice, it's not fight those who are attacking you. It's fight people based on what they believe, people who don't believe the right things. Fight those who believe not in Allah nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which has been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger. So if your religion doesn't forbid the same things as Islam, there's a command to fight you. Nor acknowledge the religion of truth, again, which is Islam, from among the people of the book in the Quran are Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. So here we have a command to fight Jews and Christians based on their beliefs, not based on the Jews and Christians attacking Muslims or doing anything to Muslims.
When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, the Prophet says, the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation, jizya. When enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you. But the ruling is for Sharia. If they refuse, then we have to fight. Then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land. Because you refuse, I give you two good options. This is the strength of Islam. But nowadays, forget this. Maybe in the coming 40, 50 years when the Muslims become strong.
Just
if they refuse,
two good options. You didn't go along with it. Yeah, I think people in the West believe that that's just what happened hundreds of years ago and doesn't happen anymore. And it's not over for a lot of societies.
A command to fight Jews and Christians based on their beliefs and their religious differences. And the only way Jews and Christians can avoid being killed is to pay the jizya, right? So they can convert or they can pay the jizya, tribute money paid to Muslims in acknowledgement of your own inferiority.
Exactly.
That Prime Minister Netanyahu is that it makes sense to extend that moratorium because ultimately the way to solve these problems is for the two sides to agree what's going to be Israel, what's going to be the state of Palestine. And if you can get that agreement, then you can start constructing anything that the people of Israel see fit.
This is very disturbing, a warning. This is new CCTV footage that has emerged. It's from the Kibbutz Alumim in southern Israel. Two young women managed to escape the supernova party near Reim, several kilometers away, and they got here, and here they are running away from the terrorists. There you can see the young person, young girl in a white shirt there. This was published by the South First Responders Group on Telegram. You see the girls being shot dead in cold blood by the Hamas terrorists, unarmed. Girls who had been at a music festival managed to get away, forced to beg for their lives. They were executed by Hamas terrorists. Our apologies for showing this footage. It is disturbing, but we take the view that the world needs to know what is going on, especially when you have so many attempts to downplay or actively deny what happened on October 7th.
And in the form that it must come is that this empire, the American empire that's been hurting our people since the beginning, the imperial Western powers that have been hurting our people since the beginning, they must fall. And inshallah they will fall. And my message to the people of Gaza and the oppressed peoples across the world is that there are people here, both young and old, who are going to be willing to fight and are willing to put their lives and everything they can on the line to bring these empires down, because they must come down.
It does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
That looks like a second plane. Has just
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen. So this looks like it is some sort of a concerted effort to attack the World Trade Center that is underway.
Initially, when I encountered the violence in Islam, I said, well, this can't be the true Islam. And I, for years, would push back, arguing, no, this hadith here is unreliable. For example, Muhammad says in Sahih Muslim that he has come to expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula and will not leave any but Muslims. That doesn't sound like the Muhammad I knew, so I said, well, that can't be a reliable tradition. And then another tradition from Sahih Bukhari, which says, I have been ordered to fight people until they testify that there is no God but Allah, and only then will their lives and their property be saved from me.
Another 50 Christians have been gruesomely murdered in the ongoing genocide in Nigeria. Frank Uto, a Nigerian lawyer and native of Yelawata, joins us now.
Look, there are two of my aunties who were pregnant. One was pregnant with a twin. With twins, they split open the stomach, they remove the twins, and then slaughter the twin. So that's what's been happening. And when they are doing this, they begin to recite Allah Akbar, which unfortunately has become an internationally recognized slogan and motto for terrorists.
Welcome back to Fox and Friends. Over 140 Christians were killed in Nigeria by jihadists over the Christmas holiday, marking another deadly weekend in West Africa as Christians are practically being hunted for sport. And while the world looks the other way, Nigeria was marked the worst country in the world for Christian persecution last year, according to the International Christian Concern.
We've got millions of Muslim Americans, our fellow citizens in this country. They're going to school with our kids. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. They're our co-workers.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the Islamic world which needs to be criticized, and not just criticized, but vigorously opposed, because it's a threat to life and limb, it's a threat to the core values of the West. It should not be tolerated. Now, one can't say that because one is immediately accused of Islamophobia. If you talk about the rape and pimping gangs being mainly perpetrated by Pakistani heritage Muslim men, you're immediately accused of Islamophobia.
I'm going to bum your nan alive, then dead her again. And the threats of rape, all of these threats of rape, imagine being these children. Imagine being a 15-year-old child living in Huddersfield with your little sisters. Muslim men are jailed in the biggest scandal in the history of our country for mass rapes in that town. And then you're receiving and you're reading these messages. You're going to die. You're going to fucking die. We're going to strangle your mum, your dad, your friends. I'll kill your whole family. I can't wait to find you so I can slit your throat. You're the person who should be killed in those ISIS videos. You, your parents and your whole family have to be burned. Do everyone a favour and fucking off yourself.
This is a part of our religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah? There's a reason why there's a capital punishment. Because people like you, little weaklings, who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt. And we're proud of that. Yeah? Capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state. Yeah? Not individuals going and doing it themselves like idiots. Yeah? No. Under an emir, it is done. Yes. And we, you know what? We'll be watching.
Apostates like myself should be executed. So
100% yes. 100% yes. How many people are watching this live? 1.4k people.
You literally just said that I, as an apostate, deserve to be executed.
Allah. I swear by Allah. When I see you in February,
Sure, this upcoming debate conference, both AP and Central Dawah will be there in Newark, New Jersey. Say it with me. Newark, New Jersey. Say it with me.
When I see you in February, I swear by Allah.
Released this video from a Hamas dash cam exclusively to NBC News, saying it shows a terrorist using a heavy machine gun to mow down survivors fleeing from the Supernova Music Festival.
And this is from the most reliable collection of hadith, Sahih Bukhari. And so I said, no, that can't be reliable either. And as you continue, you find Muhammad beheading multiple hundreds of men at the same time. You see him distributing those men's wives and children into slavery. You see him torturing people for money. You see him all these atrocities within Muhammad's life, and not always in defensive battles by any means, offensively as well.
In London, you can do this and you're not getting arrested. That's not.
They can do this and not get arrested. If someone else makes a comment against transgenderism, if someone else makes a comment against Islam, they'll probably get their door kicked off by the SWAT team. They're protected. The Islamic community are protected if they act this way. Do you know there's a case? Some Muslims drove down from the north of England into the Jewish area. They drove through in their cars with speakers and megaphones talking about raping the Jewish daughters. Yeah? They got arrested because there was such a furor, they didn't get prosecuted.
It was terrifying. The boys had to be rescued by the police as bottles and eggs rained down on them. Mohammed hijabbed and threatened a police officer that he'd kill the boy's dog if he saw it again.
However, when those Zionists came in with their dogs, that was an act of provocation. So what we're saying now, and I'm making it very clear so everyone understands, if those dogs come close to us again, we will see it as an act of aggression, and we will kill those dogs. We'll put them down.
People in the West wonder why are the jihadis waging war against the West, and they say, hey, we're not fighting you. I mean, at least go and fight those in the battlefield. This is one of those commands. I was commanded to fight those who rejected Islam until basically to admit that Islam is the religion basically of God.
Let that sink in. They're calling for our literal blood. and the police are just strolling alongside them.
We'll find some Jews there. We want the Zionists, we want the blood. This is the next anti-Jewish edition.
Muslims want to bring Shia law to the United States.
Do you even know what Sharia law is? Feeding the poor, that's Sharia. Smiling at someone, that's Sharia. Being kind to your neighbor, education for every child, women's right to work. Marriage must be between two consenting adults. Marriage must be between two consenting adults. Marriage must be between two consenting adults. That is Sharia. Respecting your parents. Democracy is Sharia.
The report said witness accounts indicated at least 15 separate cases of sexual assault, with verbal and physical harassment and threats of forced marriage, as well as evidence of gang rape, followed by killing, genital mutilation, and public humiliation.
That is Sharia.
Because it said Hamas had silenced most of its victims by killing them. It also said joint criminal responsibility should be applied to all participants in the attack, rather than trying to link individual perpetrators to specific victims. This, it said, would create a pathway to justice for victims of the October 7th attack, and potentially for those in other conflict zones. Hamas has denied its forces committed sexual violence against women, but a UN mission concluded last year that there were reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence occurred on October 7th.
Doesn't matter if rapes happen on October 7th. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
That is Sharia.
This all happened outside of the daughter's high school. Several bystanders stepped in just to prevent these parents from killing her. This disturbing case got on police radar back in October, and to this day, the parents are still in jail. I'm Elizabeth Milner for Law and Crime. So what was their reasoning for doing this? Well, the way the victim described it, she could have been the victim of an honor killing.
That is Sharia.
My mum was there, my sister-in-law was there, and they started to beat me. And this was a different kind of beating. It was almost as though they were determined to kill me. And all my life I'd been threatened that we will bury you under these floorboards, and I really believed they would. And within no time, they'd broken my jaw. They had broken my arm, and I was in a lot of pain.
That is Sharia.
My father held his foot on my throat.
That is Sharia.
And I felt at that moment I left my body. And I remember looking at myself and thinking, this is it. This is it now for you. But I heard something, it sounds strange, but it's what I believe and I know what happened. And something said to me, not yet. It's not your time just yet. And I remember going back into the body and feeling nothing. I was numb. I knew they were still kicking and punching and stamping on me, but I wasn't feeling anything. All I was doing was watching blood literally drip from my head onto my nose and into the carpet.
That is Sharia.
She was a very calm and quiet person. She loved to see people happy. She did not like arguments. She just wanted a happy life. She wanted, a family.
Banaz Mahmoud was murdered by her own family because they said she'd brought them dishonor.
That is Sharia.
Illegal forced marriage is an insidious crime. Robbed a young woman of her freedom.
A loveless marriage exploded in violence.
And her life. She had to face the impossible choice of her family or the man she didn't want to marry.
Yes.
That is Sharia.
In January 2023, 22-year-old Tiba returned to her homeland of Iraq for what should have been a family reunion. Instead, it became a death sentence. This is the story of how a father's desire to protect his honor led to the murder of his own daughter, and how one young woman's death ignited a firestorm of controversy in a nation grappling with the deadly consequences of tradition.
That is Sharia.
It's our culture, he explained. Fale asked the detective what he would do if he had such a disobedient daughter. Bawe responded that he would not crush his daughter with a car. He soon asked Fale again whether he had meant to hurt the women. Yes, Fale al-Maleki finally confessed, he had. If your house has got a fire in just part of the house, he said, do we let the house burn or do we try to stop the fire? Fale then admitted that his daughter Noor was the small fire he was forced to extinguish. doctors at John Lincoln North Hospital pronounced Noor al-Maleki clinically brain dead at 7 a.m. on November 2nd. Her family decided to take her off life support. Several members, including her mother and brother Ali, were by Noor's bedside when her heart stopped beating at 11:54 a.m.
That is Sharia.
My parents went to the Hajj, they went to the pilgrimage. Before they went, they were given so many warnings about what they should do during the Hajj. And I witnessed the same thing when other people went to the Hajj. And there was one warning that stuck out so much, that women should be especially careful during the Hajj, and that my father should always stay very close to my mother and never let go of her hand. I remember this one conversation about cabs, about taxis. They were saying that my father should go in first and let my mother out first, because many things happen, like women being sexually harassed, having their belongings stolen more often, or even being abducted or something.
That is Sharia.
Is that something that you know of?
Yeah, to be honest, it's something I know a bit too much of, which makes you really question like a lot of things. Because I've said this so many times. This amount of stories of women, even if like my dad had the same fears when we would go as a family, you know. So it becomes really kind of intense and awkward and dangerous, even when you're doing tawaf, like when you're circumambulating the Kaaba. Especially like I said in Ramadan times, it's like a mini Hajj at that point, so it's like the same amount of rush. But honestly, they're not afraid to pinch your bum, they're not afraid to kind of touch you, or you're in an abaya, but they use that closeness to get too close, like it gets very, very uncomfortable.
That is Sharia.
Chapter 33, verse 49. So now understand the context of this verse, and I'm going to give you Bukhari and all the scholars. They're all going to agree. This is the interpretation. No one denied it until modern times because of embarrassment. It's answering the question, what if we have women who are menopause? They don't have their monthly courses, and we divorce them. How long should they wait? Count 3 months. But then they ask the other question. Well, what if we marry young minors who haven't even had their periods yet? They wait 3 months too. This is how sick the religion is here. And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, see, they're menopause. For them, the iddah, if you have doubt, is 3 months. And for those who have no courses, why? They haven't had their, because they are still immature, their iddah is 3 months. Chapter 65, verse 4 of the Quran.
Was that in the Quran?
Yes. Chapter 65, verse 4 of the Quran.
Wow.
That moment, because the Kaaba's here and you're here getting touched up by some man who's in ihram and supposed to be here cleansing his soul and heart and purifying himself, and you also don't feel like it's the right time to even tell the man or the person you're with, your mahram, because it's such a horrible thing to experience, but it happens all the time.
That is Sharia.
Okay, so I saw that video yesterday and I screamed, because I had that exact experience when I was 20 years old and went on Umrah, and someone literally grabbed a big chunk of my behind as I was walking around to do Umrah, and it caught me off guard, and I like screamed. I told my mom immediately, my family that was around me, and everyone was just kind of like, oh, that's something that happens here. Like that just happens here.
That is Sharia.
We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
Reason that you've heard of it, because it's a small town in Yorkshire. But in that small town in Yorkshire, 1,400 girls were abused. This happened over decades, and you've got to be wondering, how did this take place over decades? How did nobody intervene? Well, it's because the perpetrators were Pakistani men, and the police were terrified of investigating them or doing anything about it because they didn't want to be seen as intolerant. They didn't want to be seen as racist. That's not me making that up, by the way. That is in the official inquiry into what happened in Rotherham.
Egyptian Christians are frequent targets of attack during times of political instability. As a minority in a Muslim country, they've also struggled for years, not only to protect their churches, homes, and businesses, but also their daughters.
Yeah. So you think that having sex with a 9-year-old is justified?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that
is he or was he married to such a young girl? Because this was normal. Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was like in his 60s, married his friend's daughter, the daughter of Ali, who was a child of 11 or 12 years of age. That was the norm.
10 to 12 years old. Now, remember that, guys. Hussein and everyone listen. Umar was around 47 years old. Ali's daughter Kulthum would have been 10 to 12. So when Umar says, I want to marry her, what does Ali say about a 10 to 12-year-old? Umar asked Imam Ali for what?
The hand of Bibi Kulthum in marriage, to which Ali replied, O Commander of the Faithful, she is a milk-fed child.
So how can she be still a child at the age of 10 to 12 and Umar 47, and this not apply to Muhammad when Aisha was 9 and he was 54? So Ali's saying, she's a child, man. You're 47 years old. What do you want to do with my kid? Now keep reading.
That was the norm.
That is Sharia.
We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
Umar asked Ali for the hand of his daughter
Kulthum
in marriage. Ali replied that she had not yet attained the age of maturity.
Okay, I'm really confused here, Hussein. She was around 10 to 12 years old and she still hadn't reached puberty, and yet Aisha was 9 playing with dolls and swings, and yet she was mature enough for a 54-year-old to mount her. When Ali says, look, my daughter is a milk-fed child. She's a child. She hasn't reached puberty. You're 47, Umar. What do you want with my daughter?
That was the norm.
That is Sharia.
We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
So Umar was 47 here, and she's 10 to 12. By Allah, this is not true. You do not want her to marry me. If she's underage, send her to me. Thus Ali gave.
In other words, let me examine her. Dude,
Okay.
she's my kid. You're forcing me to send my kid so you can examine her?
All these guys were sick perverts, man.
Yeah, but wait.
What is this? What is this anyway? Is this supposed to be a
Let him
hadith?
finish. Don't be scared. Keep going.
You do not want her to marry me. If she is underage, send her to me. Thus Ali gave his daughter Kulthum a dress and asked her to go to Umar and tell him that her father wants to know what this dress is for. When she came to Umar and gave him the message, he grabbed her hand and forcibly pulled her towards him. Damn.
What a pervert. He's forcing himself on this young child.
We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
So you think that having sex with a 9-year-old is justified?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the
Kulthum asked him to leave her hand, which Umar and said, you are a very mannered lady with great morals. Go and tell your father that you are very pretty and that you are not what he said to you, of you.
You see, look, what a pervert. Go tell him you're pretty and you are not too young for me to marry. And then with that, Ali married Kulthum to Umar. Tarikh Khamis, volume 2, Dhikr Kulthum, page 384.
Umar ibn Khattab, who was like in his 60s, married his friend's daughter, the daughter of Ali, who was a child of 11 or 12 years of age. That was the norm.
That is Sharia.
We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
On the day they prepared her for marriage, it says she was playing on swings with her friends. That's how young she was. Sahih, chain, Al-Albani, book 42, hadith 4917, Sunan Abu Dawud, and I'll show you that from Bukhari. When we came to Medina, the women came to me when I was playing on the swing, and my hair were up to my ears. They brought me, prepared me, and decorated me. Then they brought me to the Messenger of Allah, and he took up cohabitation with me when I was 9. Here's a girl playing with swings, playing with dolls, and this 54-year-old takes her into his house and deflowers her. Sahih al-Bukhari, volume 5, book 58, hadith 234. Narrate Aisha, the Prophet engaged me when I was a girl of 6 years. We went to Medina and stayed at the home of Bani al-Harith bin Khazraj. Then I got ill. Look how young she is. She's a precocious girl, and my hair fell down. She even lost her hair. Later on, my hair grew again, and my mother, Ruman, came to me while I was playing in a swing with some of my girlfriends. What was she doing?
Playing on the swing.
She called me, and I went to her, not knowing what she wanted to do with me. She caught me by the hand and made me stand at the door of the house. I was breathless then. And when my breathing became all right, she took some water and rubbed my face and head with it. Then she took me into the house. There in the house, I saw some Ansari women, meaning some women from Medina, who said, best wishes and Allah's blessing and a good luck. What sick people. Then she entrusted me to them, and they prepared me for marriage. Unexpectedly, Allah's apostle came to me in the forenoon. My mother handed me over to him, and at that time, I was a girl of 9 years old.
She may be given in marriage by her father. There is no age limit to be intimate with one's wife, even if she is a minor. So, yes, you can marry her, even if she hasn't reached puberty, and yes, you can have sex with her, even if she hasn't reached puberty.
If you look just at the Quran,
you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. The reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old is not found in the Quran at all.
Last year, a Helsinki Commission hearing revealed the number of disappearances and abduction of Christian girls is increasing. Human trafficking expert Michelle Clark told of more than 800 cases. Still, many Islamic leaders and government officials debunk claims that Christian girls are being trafficked. They insist the conversions and marriages are not forced. They're simply the result of young love.
Let's see if you're happy with some of this. I pray someone rapes you and your whole family while you watch. Fuck your mother, fuck your love. The Syrians will rape your family. If I saw you, I would rape you to death. You'll be raped by the Fallujah group. I hope your mother will not be racist when she is raped.
If you just read the Quran, it is halal, it would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ. وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ. And the ones who had never been pubescent before.
We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
When there are signs of physical maturity, it becomes permissible for the husband in Islamic law to have marital relationships or consummate the relation with his bride. And this is the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Do you know what precocious puberty is?
Starting puberty unusually early.
Is there anything in Islam that prevents you from, a man marrying a 5-year-old that started precocious puberty?
You can arrange a marriage even as an infant, but that doesn't mean that sex is allowed.
She may be given in marriage by her father. There is no age limit to be intimate with one's wife, even if she is a minor. So, yes, you can marry her, even if she hasn't reached puberty, and yes, you can have sex with her, even if she hasn't reached puberty.
Could a man have a marriage to a 5-year-old consummated if she started precocious puberty?
If she starts showing signs of physical maturity, then yes, that's permissible, as I said.
What about age 4?
If there are signs
3.
So this is something that becomes biologically impossible because
I have a
puberty,
study that shows it goes as early as 11 months.
Well, that's something that the parents would not. See, the thing about Islamic marriage is that parents are involved at these ages. And when you look at the marriage of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
The Prophet married Aisha when she was 6 years old and consummated marriage when she was 9. Again, who? Al-Bukhari Muslim, but Muslim says she was 7 when he did the marriage contract. Now, don't forget though, these ages are based on lunar calendar. So in a lunar calendar, a 7-year-old may be, according to the solar calendar, as young as 6, a 6 as young as 5, because they're going by the lunar calendar, not the solar calendar. Sahih Bukhari, volume 8, book 73, hadith 151. I used to play with dolls in the presence of the Prophet, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. This is how young she was. When Allah's messenger used to enter my dwelling place, they used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. You see what a sick human being this guy is? Now, Islam forbids you to have images. So why was she allowed to have dolls with images on it? Here's why. They used to hide themselves, but the Prophet would call them to join and play with me. The playing with dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at that time. Why? As she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. And where they're getting this from? Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the commentator of Fathul Bari, volume 13, page 143.
If you look just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old.
So you think that having sex with a 9-year-old is justified?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that so here, let me ask you a question.
There's a lot of stuff going on in the Islamic world which needs to be criticized, and not just criticized, but vigorously opposed, because it's a threat to life and limb, it's a threat to the core values of the West. It should not be tolerated. Now, one can't say that because one is immediately accused of Islamophobia. If you talk about the rape and pimping gangs being mainly perpetrated by Pakistani heritage Muslim men, you're immediately accused of Islamophobia.
Is it acceptable to marry my cousin? If you want to marry her, go ahead. It is halal. Now, for some reason, this is something people make fun of Muslims. Oh, go marry your cousin, go marry your cousin.
any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. Oh my God, these inbred fucking douchebags in the background, dude.
Yo, bro, we marry cousins all the time. People have been marrying cousins for millions of years, bro. And yes, the chances of a birth defect might be increased, but it's not to the level where Allah knows us. Allah knows best. It's not to the level where it's going to be dangerous. My parents were cousins. Look how I turned out. I have brothers and sisters who married cousins. I have lots of people in my family who are cousins who are married. Absolutely not a single issue in any of my siblings' family ever. So, you want to marry cousin, go ahead. You don't want to, go find a halal badi.
Firstly, Islam is a divine religion. It is from Allah Azza wa Jal. And generally speaking, it does not go against science. But throughout the years, we've discovered that science is not always right.
Look how I turned out.
Marrying first cousin is permitted, but brother, sister, father, mother, this is not permitted. Today science tells us that directly if you marry the blood brother and sisters marry, there are high chances of abnormalities. There can be genetic problems. And today science tells us that even in first cousin, the chances is there, but it is negligible. Genetic problem can even come if two people, boy and girl, even if they are unknown, even if they are not relatives, yet there can be a genetic problem in them.
Look how I turned out.
When science comes and says cousins must not get married to one another, we do not look at science and neglect our own religion.
Well, no.
For the record.
I'm not calling it
propaganda. This is like a hostile. They're streaming this? Yeah. They're flexing. What?
Well, no.
For the record.
No, I'm not calling it
propaganda. And they're coming in hot with guns. Yeah, but you have to understand, this is a deterrence. Israeli society is going to start getting upset. They're going to be like, I can't get my treats. I can't get my Amazon Prime deliveries. What the fuck is going on?
Well, no.
For the record.
No, I'm not calling it
propaganda. I hate this. Israel sucks. I'm leaving Israel. That's the goal.
Progressives marching side by side, shoulder to shoulder with Islamists. It's quite comical if it wasn't so awful, because the Islamists would basically, kill them, some of them.
Okay, but do you support, let's say, gay rights here in Palestine?
No.
No?
The LGBTQ rights here in Palestine. No, I don't support them.
No? Okay.
Yes.
Would you go to Israel?
I would go to Palestine.
But if you went to Palestine, you'd be thrown off of a building.
I mean, Israel.
For being gay.
Think about it. Israel is Palestine. Not everyone knows that I'm gay. Like, I do understand as someone who is non-binary, it is hard. Like,
Are you would you say you're non-binary?
Yeah.
Do you love Palestine?
Yeah, why not?
Even though you wouldn't be allowed to be yourself there?
I feel like they're not supposed to judge, even if they have a set mindset. It is actually very haram in the Muslim culture for them to judge, where even they themselves should know.
But there's not a single Muslim state where it's legal to be gay.
That is true, and I've thought about that.
Yeah.
The reason these activists stay in Western nations to protest, because they aren't welcome in Islamic countries.
شعبنا الفلسطيني المسلم لا يرضى أن يكون لوطيا واحد يجاهر بفاحشته. هل ترضون أن يكون على أرض القدس وفلسطين لوطيا واحد؟ هل ترضون؟
Now, let's move to Hamas, the catalyst for this entire thing. They're the ones that committed this horrible act of terrorism, one of the worst the world has ever seen, on October 7th. They are without a doubt the most extreme of all of these terrorist organizations. They are Islamic jihadists that want to convert all of Israel into an Islamic state under Sharia law. That's their stated goal. Hamas has been on the designated terrorist group pretty much as long as there's been a group. These guys have been suicide bombing civilians before ISIS leaders were even born. They fired 50,000 rockets into civilian populations and performed over 100 suicide bombings, killing thousands of civilians. Women are restricted from participating in the workplace and public life. Homosexuality is outlawed, and in some cases, of course, punishable by death.
No, for the record. No, I'm not calling it propaganda.
ولا يرضى شعبنا أن توجد مؤسسات للفاحشة ومقدماتها على أرض فلسطين المباركة الطاهرة، ولا يقبل أن تمس أحكام الشريعة بنقص أو تبديل، ولا يرضى بالمناهج المناهضة لأحكام الإسلام. فاقتدوا يا مسلمون برسولكم صلى الله عليه وسلم وضعوا تحت أقدامكم كل منكر وكل حرام وكل ما يخالف.
Israel is the only country that has LGBTQ plus rights. The governing body of Palestine doing that to its own people is something that you can see.
Attacks. They even assassinated the Lebanese prime minister. They've hijacked civilian airplanes. They've shot 15,000 rockets into civilian centers. And if you can imagine, that's not even the worst things they've done. They participated in the slaughter of over 500,000 Syrian civilians to help a dictator, Bashar Assad, stay in power. They indiscriminately bombed over civilian centers, and they killed hundreds of thousands of civilians in what can only be described as a genocide. They are a designated terrorist group by the US, by the EU, and, oh yeah, the entire Arab League, which gave them that status after their participation in the Syrian genocide. In short, nobody likes them. Well, there is one person.
Hezbollah is a paramilitary organization.
Do we like them or no?
They are a terrorist organization. Like they're designated. They are designated by the American state as a terrorist organization.
I do not like them then.
Well, like
I like what you like.
I don't have an issue with them. Let's just say.
Rights, gay rights. I mean, these things are inimical to Islamic society, but they are bound together by a common aim. Even though the society they want to have they are polar opposites, but they're bound together by the common aim of destroying the West and hatred of Jews and Israel.
This is Hezbollah's leader, Hasan Nasrallah. According to Hasan Piker, this man is a brilliant freedom fighter. But before we get into that, let's see how he feels about Jewish people. Here are some choice quotes from Hezbollah's leader, Hasan Nasrallah. According to Shaul Shai, Hasan Nasrallah said in a speech delivered in Beirut, "What do the Jews want? They want security and money. Throughout history, the Jews have been Allah's most cowardly and avaricious creatures. If you look all over the world, you will find no one more miserly or greedy than they are."
I don't have an issue with them.
If we search the entire world for a person more cowardly, despicable, weak, and feeble in psyche, mind, ideology, and religion, we would not find anyone like the Jew. Notice, I do not say Israeli.
I don't have an issue with them.
If Jews all gathered in Israel, it will save us the trouble of going after them worldwide. The history of Jews has proven that, regardless of the Zionist proposal, they are a people who are evil in their ideas. The state of the grandsons of apes and pigs, the Zionist Jew, the murderers of the prophet. The Jews invented the legend of the Nazi atrocities.
I don't have an issue with them.
How can they not agree with the Houthis when this is the kind of music video that they're coming out with? They got a beautiful voice too. Yeah, Israel been real quiet since this drop, dude. The fucking mixtape.
When you come to the Palestinian cause, that's exactly what it is. They accuse Israel of doing precisely what they're doing, but of which Israel is innocent. So the Palestinian Arabs want the ethnic cleansing of every Jew from a future state of Palestine, and they accuse the Jews of ethnic cleansing, the Jews of Israel. I mean, you know, it was the Arab world which really ethnically cleansed 850,000 Jews from the entire Arab world.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it, I'm saying it.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry. Holy shit.
That's not what I said. You dumb cracker bitch.
Militancy wasn't enough for these soldiers. Just being Druze and not being their kind of Muslim was.
Whenever breaking news hits my area of expertise, Islam, the persecution of religious minorities, etc., I usually have nothing to say. Odd, no? Well, here's the thing. It's not news, not to me. It's the same script I broke down 20 years ago and have repeated ever since. Over and over again. And yet, nothing changes. Ever. Let me show you what I mean. Take Syria. Over the past couple of weeks, the country's Druze minority has been hit with a wave of jihadist terror. Pure religiously motivated slaughter. That's already left at least 1,000 people dead. Quite more, possibly. It started when Sunni Bedouin tribes, backed by the Syrian military no less, stormed multiple Druze villages in Sueda province. What followed? ISIS-style atrocities. Militants screaming Allahu Akbar, torching homes, with families still inside.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Druze villagers beheaded, their mutilated bodies left on display in the town square. And yes, there's video, shared proudly on pro-regime Telegram channels, showing the attackers chanting Quran verses to justify the slaughter of non-Sunnis. Among the slain were many women and children. Some
سألنا احنا بس هيك أنا كنت بهيك الترتيبها فهني قال هذا مو لبس مو شي بنلبس هني يمكن كانوا عم بيسألوا عن بدهم الحجاب بس كانوا يضحكوا ويقولوا نحن السنة جيناكم. أنا أول ما فت على الغرفة شفتهم مكتوب على الحيط أول الباب هيك لا إله إلا الله.
They put the men in one room and the women in another. Then they opened fire. Rita's grandmother was in front of her. She was killed along with Rita's mother, 2 brothers, father, grandfather. 6 other relatives also died.
Those of you who disbelieve, believe whatever you want and let us believe what we want. Fairly peaceful. One of the ones that's I can't say this without laughing a bit, but so abused is chapter 5, verse 32 of the Quran, which says, if you kill one person, it says if you kill all of mankind. And if you save a life, it says if you save all of mankind. When you start understanding the context, though, you realize that this is not the ultimate message of Islam. For example, that one verse, chapter 5, verse 32 of the Quran, says the first part of that verse is, it was told to the Jews, if you kill one person, it's as if you kill all mankind. If you save a life, as if you save all mankind. And we do. We find that in Tractate Sanhedrin of the Babylonian Talmud.
I see.
It's not in the Quran, it's not a teaching for Muslims. The next verse is the teaching for Muslims, which says, if anyone creates mischief in the land or strives against Allah or His Messenger, crucify him or kill him.
Right, a very different message.
Exactly.
And I say this to Netanyahu. I say this to all of the powers. We will never allow you to put your gross hands on Masjid al-Aqsa. It will never happen.
Wednesday night at the Capitol Jewish Museum, police say a 31-year-old gunman opens fire, killing Israeli embassy staffers Yahon Lishinsky and Sarah Milgram. According to court documents, after the victims fell on the ground, he reloaded and fired again.
We find that there are 3 stages in the call to jihad depending on the status of Muslims in a society. When Muhammad and his followers were only a tiny minority of the population, they were commanded to preach a message of peace and tolerance. If a Muslim had a disagreement with an unbeliever, he was commanded to quote Surah 109, verse 6, "To you be your religion, and to me be my religion."
We show our faces.
Exactly. The British society, the fabric of the British society is respecting the public freedom.
We are
and
British.
Public freedom is part of it, the religious freedom.
What
So
about
I've
the fact
got the
that
right
people
to
feel
practice.
uneasy? They said they don't know how to relate to women who have their faces covered.
First of all, let them interact with us. Let us be open and engaging with them. This is number one. Secondly, 80% of communication in the world does not involve face-to-face. Twitter.
At this stage, Muslims weren't allowed to fight, even to defend themselves against persecution. Many Muslims point to Quran verses that were revealed during this time as proof that Islam is a religion of peace. But the message of the Quran eventually changed. When Muhammad had gained a larger following and had formed alliances with various tribes, but wasn't yet strong enough to subjugate non-Muslims, he was ordered to wage defensive jihad. At this stage, Muslims are ordered to fight unbelievers, but only if the unbelievers do something first. A characteristic passage is Surah 2, verses 190 to 193. "And fight in the way of Allah with those who fight with you, and do not exceed the limits. Surely Allah does not love those who exceed the limits. And kill them wherever you find them, and drive them out from whence they drove you out, and persecution is severer than slaughter. And do not fight with them at the sacred mosque until they fight with you in it, but if they do fight you, then slay them. Such is the recompense of the unbelievers. But if they desist, then surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. and fight with them until there is no persecution and religion should be only for Allah. But if they desist, then there should be no hostility except against the oppressors.
Why though? Why didn't they stop them?
They have never said no to the Islamic community.
Why though?
They're scared of them.
Why?
So there was Bradford, the riots in Bradford, I think, which were in 2001. There was mass riots in Bradford where the Pakistani community come out and burned Bradford. But when they burned Bradford, they burned Oldham, so the riots spread. And I learned.
So there's fighting in stage 2, but the fighting is a response to persecution or oppression or even criticism. Many Muslims in the West insist that this is the end of the story. Fighting is only for self-defense. But the revelations continued to change as the Muslim community expanded. When Muhammad and his followers became the most powerful force in Arabia, they were commanded to wage offensive jihad, violently subjugating non-Muslims simply for being non-Muslims. Surah 9, verse 29 of the Quran commands Muslims to fight those who do not believe in Allah. Notice this is a command to fight people based on what they believe. Surah 9, verse 73, O Prophet, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites and be unyielding to them. Strive hard against whom? Oppressors, persecutors, people who are attacking you? No, strive hard against the unbelievers, non-Muslims, and the hypocrites, people who claim to be Muslims but aren't fully submitting to the commands of Allah and Muhammad. Surah 9, verse 123, O you who believe, fight those of the unbelievers who are near to you and let them find in you hardness. Surah 48, verse 29, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those who are with him are severe against disbelievers and merciful among themselves.
يا إخواننا المسلمين في أمريكا لا يكن القناص الأمريكي الكافر توماس كروس أجرأ منكم على التضحية والموت حينما أراد قتل الطاغية ترامب بقناصته، أو النصراني إلياس مدروجيز الذي قتل 2 من موظفي سفارة الصهاينة في واشنطن مؤخرا، ولا الجندي الأمريكي بوشنل الذي أحرق نفسه أمام السفارة اليهودية بأمريكا احتجاجا على قتلهم المسلمين. فأين أنتم من هذه التضحية؟ وإني أوصيكم بمتابعة قراءة مجلة إنسباير الناطقة بالإنجليزية، فإن فيها من الإرشادات الكثير سينتفع بها كل حر غيور على دينه. ونذكركم أن عدد اليهود على أرض أمريكا ليس بالقليل، فهم حوالي 6 مليون يهودي يساوون عدد من هم بفلسطين تقريبا، بل إن من بالأراضي المحتلة الفلسطينية منهم الثلث يحملون الجنسية الأمريكية. ويا إخواننا في أوروبا لقد بلغ عددكم 16 مليونا تقريبا، فلا تجعلوا لليهود أي مأمن كما لم يجعلوا لأهل فلسطين أي مسكن ولا مأوى ولا راحة، حتى المستشفيات تقصف على رؤوس المرضى والجرحى والنساء والأطفال وكبار السن، فالثأر الثأر كل بما يحسنه ويتقنه.
Striking about your book is your continued explication of the Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, psychopaths, their willingness to exploit every element of human decency to wage the most destructive possible of wars,
yes.
Right? So the tunnels, let's go into that for a minute. So Gaza is 11 by 11 miles, approximately 140 square miles, 350 miles of tunnels, right? Longer than the London Underground, which is a stunning fact. Stunning fact.
Longer than London Underground, and as I joked to the British military friend, rather better run.
6,000 entrances, many of them in the bedrooms of children.
Oh, almost always where the tunnel entrances come up, they come up in children's bedrooms, in houses throughout Gaza. They come up inside mosques, but they come up inside hospitals. Even in 2014, the BBC acknowledged that the Hamas leadership were coming up from tunnels underneath the Shifa hospital
and the Middle East Media Research Institute Executive Director Steven Zielinski branded the city, quote, America's jihad capital in a Wall Street Journal opinion piece. He said, quote, almost immediately after the October 7th attack, people were celebrating in the streets in Dearborn. He also claimed that religious leaders in the community have called for the extermination of Israel.
Going on, you know, what have we created in the West, in the progressive West, as a result of this business of, you know, it's my truth, everything's a matter of opinion, my feelings trump facts. It's all to do with the individual, you know, what the individual wants, what the individual says, what the individual feels is what is. And that has led to our victim culture in which I feel oppressed by you, and because I feel oppressed by you, I am oppressed by you, even though I may have been absolutely dreadful to you and have caused you to lose your job and all your social circle and all your prospects, but nevertheless, I'm the victim of you. So it's that kind of inversion that you can do no right because you are an oppressor group. You are white, you are male, you are Christian, you are Western, whatever it is, you're an oppressor group, therefore you can do no right. And I am black, I come from a developing world country, I am not conventionally gendered or sexualized, whatever it is. I define myself as a minority victim group. I can therefore do no wrong because I'm a victim. I must be the victim of you, even though I have told lies about you, I have damaged you. This is irrelevant. Because I feel that I'm a victim, I am a victim. So you have a Western progressive mindset, which because it's abolished truth and reason, and because it's embraced hyper-individualism and victim culture, has inverted reality. So you have an absolute match between the liberal progressive mindset, which inverts reality for its purposes, and the Islamic mindset, which inverts reality for its purposes. So you have a marriage made in hell.
As Muslims, we have a right to bring up our children in accordance with our beliefs, which have served us over the centuries well. I bring that child into this world, I educate him, I give him everything. I know that's going to make him a better human being.
Do you teach them that apostates should be punished?
You may not share that, but that is my religion.
What you teach the children will happen to them if they give up the Muslim faith.
Well, let's bring the debate back into Britain.
What is the penalty for apostasy?
If a child is born into a family given a certain religion, as they grow up, they learn about other religions. It does not prevent me from being open to other religions. I, in fact, have come to this country and chose to put the veil on.
What is the penalty for leaving the Muslim faith?
To be honest, I cannot back that point up.
Dr. Niqab, what is the penalty for apostasy?
And, before
you very well know, if it's an Islamic country, then the Sharia is very clear. Apostasy is dealt with the death penalty.
Thank you. That's all I want to hear.
The distinction in these verses is not between people who are attacking you and people who aren't attacking you. The distinction is between believer and unbeliever. And those who are with Muhammad are only to be merciful towards fellow Muslims. Putting all of this together, we see that jihad proceeds in stages. Stage 1, promote peace and tolerance when the Muslim community is thoroughly outnumbered. Stage 2, fight defensively when the Muslim community is strong enough to fight, but not strong enough to conquer. Stage 3, fight offensively when the Muslim community is strong enough to violently subjugate non-Muslims. Interestingly, you can look at any country in the world and see how the message of Islam changes based on the strength of the Muslim community.